as is the next company that we're going to be featuring as well. We're going to be talking to Rohit Kapoor, Swiggy's food marketplace CEO. So much happening within this entire segment, and of course with Swiggy as well, with regards to quick commerce and the kind of competition which is heating up with newer players now wanting a piece of this pie, and how this segment is really growing and set to only grow further from here onwards. So let me welcome Rohit on board. Rohit, hi, good to have you on the show. And Rohit, you've seen a great response for Raksha Bandhan, right? What does it indicate about this year's festival season, the outlook that you're anticipating?
I'm not a soothsayer, not a big believer in making forecasts, but I think we are entering into a fairly strong festive season from a consumer demand standpoint and how consumers are reacting. Basis what I've been seeing either today or even Independence Day, which went by a few days back. So all signs are positive, but again, not in the business of predicting quarters in the future.
Recently launched group ordering on Swiggy. Other competitors have followed that as well. How do you plan to take on competition and gain more market share? And how has the reception been on group ordering?
Yeah, so group ordering is something we launched a week back, and it's actually we are the only platform where it is scaled already 100% over the weekend. This is look, I don't see this as a way of what competition does and what we do, but frankly, this is a very significant consumer need. And just to give you a sense, there's been have all of us have been in rooms where people are together, they want to order, and they're discussing with each other, and the phones get passed around, or you ask someone what will you have, and the typical answer you get sometimes is kuch bhi kha lunga, and the person's wondering like what does kuch bhi mean. So this has multiple use cases. This is in the spirit of multiple products being launched by Swiggy. If you just track last few months, you'll see a plethora of new products launched, whether it's Eat List or whether it is Explorer and group ordering. I personally am very excited about group ordering. It solves a real consumer need. And early signs that we have seen last weekend, which is the first full weekend where it was 100% live on our platform, have been very strong. Today, I think I was joking with my team that normally brothers and sisters are fighting sometimes, and that's the caricature at least, and they don't agree on many things. But group ordering is one thing they can use to sort of keep peace and order what they love without having to ask each other.
Right. Let's talk about the quick commerce part once a little more. That space is hotting up. In fact, one of your competitors even said that quick commerce will supersede the core business of food delivery in the next few years. Do you see that happening? Also, take us through some trends, the key trends you're observing in that space.
Yeah. So look, I do think there could be a scenario that quick commerce overtakes food, and there could be a scenario where food gets a step jump few years later as penetration levels increase and it becomes way larger. And it has happened in markets. So, for example, if you look at the US market, food or restaurant sales actually crossed grocery in 2015. In India, grocery is a way bigger market than food services today. So it is very much possible, and it is very much possible that both keep pace at some point. I think food is a very large category play, and there is a lot to be discovered, done on food, and that's something I am a big passionate believer in. Quick commerce is extremely exciting. I think we are seeing unprecedented levels of consumer adoption. What is very intriguing for me is category after category where the world said or the experts said that no, consumers don't want this in 10 minutes. Why will anybody need it in 10 minutes? Uh, when the supply is there and you are able to actually provide it to the consumer, people seem to be lapping it up, right? And the one observation I have there is when people discover, they take a lot of time. They could go on multiple sites. They can be looking on the internet or Instagram or wherever to figure out what they want. But once they've decided, they want it quick and fast. And that's where quick commerce comes in just making sure it is there with you immediately as when you need it.
Sure. You know, Rohit, the other thing I wanted to talk about is that you're present in about 675 cities already. Walk us through what kind of trends and usage patterns that you're seeing when it comes to tier 2 versus what you're seeing in tier 3 cities and what's happening in metros.
I traveled extensively in tier 2, tier 3. I personally believe that India is digitally equalized and financially unequal, right? Which means that because of how digital revolution literally has penetrated all of India, because on the back of telecom, on the back of the internet rates we have, if you go to any small town today, whether it's in Jhansi, whether it's in Amethi, whether it is any part or any small town in like Thrissur or anywhere, you'll find that the consumer there, she's equally aware of all trends as a metro youth or a consumer is. So the exposure because of the penetration of digital media, social platforms is huge. Now it's a question of catching up on two things. One is how the society responds there, and what is the purchasing power and consumption patterns.
So just in terms of QC, we are seeing interest from e-commerce companies to jump into the fray and go deeper in what they can offer and which can be looked at eating into other delivery businesses. So for now, Instamart is into food, veggies, gifts. Which categories do you look at expanding into further, and what will be the next 5 years for food delivery in the quick commerce business?
See, let me talk about quick commerce, and I think if you've seen the latest Rohit Sharma campaign that we did, we spoke about ये से लेके वो तक practically we cover the spectrum of what you need and provide that to you in 10 minutes. So FN fruits and vegetables, I think being very distinctive there, grocery being very distinctive there, are core to any quick commerce platform, right? Will not be credible if you don't do that incredibly well. But on top of that, I think just we are seeing adoption in beauty and cosmetics. We are seeing adoption in toys. We had this partnership with Hamleys where it solved at least my life's problem when we had to go to a house where there's a young kid and you are scrambling last minute to figure out what to gift. We are seeing adoption across, and the only way to discover more and more is to the great part is every brand today is very keen to understand what quick commerce means for them, which means that in the spirit of experimentation, in the spirit of innovation, you have a willing ecosystem across to come and partner. And I'm not just talking new age brands, I'm talking practically every consumer brand out there which exists is thinking about quick commerce, talking to us about it. So you'll see a range explored, but the core has to be also great. And we are insanely focused on making sure that we're doing a great job in our core as well as expanding categories as we speak. And we're practically adding like I don't know, a category a day.
Right. Rohit, how are you analyzing the competitive intensity? What are your thoughts about competition right now? Because India currently has two food delivery platforms, and then there are smaller players as well. Do you think that the market dynamics for the long time to come could remain like that, and two large players will dominate the food delivery market for the next 5 to 7 years, or do you see some disruption there?
Look, first of all, I don't think that there is two players, because frankly, when a consumer, the food delivery, so the food services market overall is way larger. We actually have a reasonably small pie of that market. And if you think about when the consumer is making choices, they are making a choice in terms of just going across and eating there versus doing a takeout. In small towns, takeaway is still quite prevalent. So we don't think of the market as in terms of one or two players, but frankly, our job is not to think about how the market evolves or how competition evolves and how many competitors will be there. There were 10 players in food delivery at some point. Today there are two or three. There could be a scenario where more get added over time. I don't know. We don't worry about those things as much as long as the core consumer experience, we obsess about that. So I'll rather think about if I have to serve as a consumer, what am I able to do well today, and what exciting possibilities can I add on to that? And if you think group ordering, I think that's a use case. Eat list, people love to share what they eat. That's a use case. That's what we obsess about. That's what we keep focusing on.
Right. Rohit, the other thing I wanted to talk about was, delivery companies, they've now increased the platform fee besides other miscellaneous, charges as well. So one's really wondering about the affordability of these services. How's the raise been taken by your consumers, and how are you going to make deliveries more affordable for consumers?
Well, there is a clear realization in the new world that every business at some point and stable state has to make money and deliver, right? So that is just going to happen in terms of companies having to focus on growth and bottom line at the same point in time. I think platform fee is something which exists across categories. It's called platform fee in some cases, it's called convenience fee in some cases. For example, if you book a cinema ticket today, you pay convenience fee. If you book an airline ticket, you pay convenience fee. If you book a train ticket, you pay a convenience fee. It's nothing new. And consumers are very used to paying a certain amount, which is actually compared to the overall average order value, it's not a very large amount. And what it does is it provides the company the stability in terms of the cost that you incur, because in any company it's not just the cost for that order delivery. There's a huge back end of technology, product investments that you need to deliver something well to the consumer. So I don't think, frankly, we have seen a big issue in terms of consumers worrying about platform fee, as long as we are delivering the service that we are supposed to deliver, right? So I think this is pretty standard in food delivery across the world and in multiple categories in India.
Rohit, from here on, how do you see the competitive intensity taking shape? Rising costs like delivery wages, etc., pose a risk to overall profitability in food ordering. What are your thoughts there?
I think when you talk about delivery cost, what we measure internally is that the driver earnings per hour have to be above a certain threshold, right? The reason is that whatever we may end up doing, we need to provide that assurance that if you're spending an hour delivering food, you need remuneration which makes sense, right? Now, that, by the way, does not come only from the point of view of saying we have to increase delivery fees for the consumer. In fact, the percentage um, of of a program like Swiggy One, which is our membership program, has grown manifold, where actually much larger percentage of consumers today have access to free deliveries. What is needed is constant operational excellence in terms of how we route plan, uh, how zones are divided in cities, what kind of things can be grouped together while delivery. And these are all very important enablers to ensuring two things happen at the same point in time. One, the delivery fees, and we are able to provide more and more options for free delivery, as well as saying it does not have to come at the cost of driver earnings. And it's a tough balance, but I don't see this being different from any other scenario where one has to keep multiple stakeholders in mind while going on the profitability journey.
Rohit, I have to ask you this before we let you go. When can we order Swiggy shares on D Street? What about your IPO plans? Because just everyone's waiting for that.
The day they get listed.
Okay, I guess we're going to catch you on that one next time. But thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us today.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.